All right, guys, we are live, and I want to welcome Jed, founder of Sloclone forums, and Shea, who's kind of co-hosting with me today. Shea, you're probably going to hang around for an hour or so, man, before you need to disappear. So,
Yep,
that's all cool. Today is number 12 of these, right? So we're definitely on a roll. We're going to run them through towards Christmas time, and then I'll figure out sometime in the new year when we'll probably start them back up again. I'm sure I will. It's a Q&A session, guys, as normal, right? So Shea and I have got a bunch of questions for Jed to kind of get the ball rolling as we go.
Yeah,
but
they're tag teaming on me.
Yeah, make sure you get your questions in the chat, and we will get to them, right? And obviously for Jed, but if there's any questions for Shea or myself, feel free to jump in with those as well.
One thing I will say, if you got questions, like real questions, get them in early, because it seems like when you get to the questions, it's like you're going from the top, really. So
exactly, man.
Do them right away.
Yeah. And we're gonna break the ice with this one straight up. Actually,
oh jeez.
All right.
It's not a question. It's not a question. It's a statement. But I love it. Jed for president. That's Matt. Hey Matt, how you doing, man? I'll get to a few of these other ones, and then we'll get into the first part of this.
He's obviously on Sloclone. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Optical, man. That's long. Jed, you probably know the date and time that he joined, but I know
I can look it up if I really wanted to.
Yeah. Victor, aloha. Hey, man. Tim's here. Hey, Tim. Hey, Jason and Shea. Welcome, Jed. Looking forward to this episode. And my buddy Alex here in Melbourne, who's moderating as he normally does. Thanks, Alex, awesome. Man. We appreciate that you do that. Jed, I think the first question that I've got, man, is what is slocloneforums.com? For the uninitiated, the people that have no idea what this thing is, what is it?
It was a bad idea I had back in 2005 of starting a forum. At the time, it was specifically for people that wanted to make Sano, the 100 amplifier. And I had done a bunch of stuff myself, drew boards up so you could, print them on magazine paper, burn your own boards, that kind of thing. And then it just kind of snowballed into a lot of cloning stuff. And then I really wanted to get away from that. Like, let's start our, design your own stuff. Obviously, you have a backbone now. You can see all that. Build your own clone. That's fine. But then tweak it to how you want it. And that's kind of how I've been for, I don't know, the last, how many years has that been? 18 years. So the last 15 years or so.
Wow.
It was pretty much like the first kind of advanced DIY forum, wasn't it?
As far as I know, and maybe there were others, and there were other people talking about it, because I know the chassis originally, a bunch of the guys that helped, that I had scabbed, my information from, had talked Ted Weber into doing the chassis for it. He didn't have the heather out at the time, but he just had the chassis. There was a big enough group to have that happen, and so there were obviously others before me doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I think in the early days, right? I mean, everyone has to remember, of course, that the dates that Jed is talking about there is all, it's before the Facebook groups and all that kind of rubbish was around.
Yeah.
And
those are MySpace days.
They're MySpace, yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember MySpace well.
Alta Vista search engine, man.
Oh, geez. IRC chats. Let's go how far back you guys are. IRC chats.
Oh yeah. Well, man, I think I'm the oldest on the call, so
yeah.
I go back.
I remember doing IRC chats. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the other forums that I can kind of think of that are still around, right? The Amp Garage.
Amp Garage, they were more into the Dumble and Trainwreck stuff, and they still kind of are. I mean, they're obviously doing their own stuff. And then, unfortunately, I got my start on AX84 that Chris Hurley was running for a long time, and that was back in 2001. And that's where the Sloclone started. I had this stuff that I had done for myself, and there was 5 other guys or so that were interested in it. And at the time Chris was like, we don't really want to do clones of current production amps, and that's cool. That was his thing. And they were also doing like lower power amps and stuff. And so I was like, well, I have a bunch of stuff. Let me set up I had a server set up at my house for my band's website at the time. And so I just kind of piggybacked off that. And that's when it started. It was, June of 2005. No, May of 2005.
So it was a breakaway from that. Who was there originally, right? So when you first set this up?
Let's see. There was a guy named Mark, I believe James, and I don't remember the other 2 because Mark left a long time ago. And then James is there, and he's actually the one Smash Guitars. He was the one that was selling the boards. Like he was the original run, did the original run of the boards. And then the other 2, I don't really remember. They weren't there that long. I mean, I could look it up, but
when did Joey join Sloclone?
I want to say 6 or 7, 2006 or 2007, somewhere around there.
Because he's been a huge part.
Oh, absolutely.
So much good information that he shared there. I mean, he's totally helped me.
He could easily write an encyclopedia.
Yeah. He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
Joey's the guy. I remember, like someone, it might have actually been Optical that said this one time in one of the threads that I was studying, and he said, in response to someone who was questioning some advice that Joey had imparted, he said, if Joey said it, you can take it to the bank.
Pretty much. I mean, it's
that's important too. Like when as far as forums go, when you're paying attention and you're like talking to people, you have to find the people who are giving you correct information, because there's so much incorrect information out there, or just maybe it's not all the way true. So finding people that really know what they talk about. And that's when I joined Sloclone, that was one of the best things, is a lot of people there that were active and talking about stuff they knew what they were talking about. So super important.
I think that's one of the things that, and Jed, I'm really interested in your perspective on this, and you've kind of touched on it briefly, right? But the thing that when I finally got into that forum, because my memory is it wasn't easy, and what I mean by that is that you've got a there's a question that you need to answer to register.
Oh yeah,
and I remember
we had some good ones.
I remember at one point, it was after I was already in, right? Thank God I was well bedded into the community by then. But at one point it got changed to, what is the name of Joey's cat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that one. I think he wasn't wanting anyone else in there, and
I think he
has the same admin rights I have, and I was like, all right.
I remember people on other forums like asking that question. Hey, what is the name of his cat? I'm trying to get in there.
Oh yeah, man, 100% right. I can't remember. I didn't know what it was because I remember seeing that, but I can't remember now. But one of the things, Jed, I was going to say that I kind of figured out pretty early on, just by reading through, not even posting at this stage, right? Just reading through the threads and trying to educate myself, was that although clone is in the name of the forum, cloning was kind of frowned upon. It was the philosophy of the site, and I think it's still there today, is very much more around, like understanding how an existing design works so that you can then elaborate on it, do something with it, take it forward or whatever. It wasn't just here's a site there where we can kind of just copy stuff.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly how it started out. Was, here's I did all the layouts, and And it was like, well, here's your paintbrush, here's your numbers, paint by picture, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it quickly and thankfully evolved to, here's the backbone, here's all these existing designs, here's how they work, here's why they work, and that kind of thing. And why don't you experiment on your own? And I should have changed the name a long time ago, but whatever.
It's just, it's kind of a thing though. It's, it's been that way for so long. It is, it is what it is at this point.
That's true.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Hell, I learned how to read schematics at Sloclone. That's like where I learned to read a schematic, because everybody like there it seemed like when I joined was, I want to say 2018, maybe around then, I think.
Wow, you're young.
Yeah.
I'm probably pretty same, man. Maybe 2017, somewhere around there.
Oh wow.
But yeah, at that time it seemed like the layout stuff was kind of frowned upon. A lot of people were, it's
yes.
like if you couldn't read a schematic, like you were pretty well, you needed to know how to read a schematic to be there.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then, I mean, I didn't want to discourage people from, I'm going to go build my first high gain amp, because that's how I was. I was like, the first amp I built was in 2001, and it was from AX84, and it was this high gain thing, a variant of the November that this guy from I think Norway, Dag Sundby, had drawn up, and I screwed everything up possible. And it was, it's push pull amp, it's high gain. I had forgot to mirror the faceplate, so the input and the actual guitar input and the power input were on the same side.
Oh shit!
Oh, I screwed it up royally. Yeah. And I got it to eventually work after I realized that I had wired the input jack backwards.
Yeah. That's how you really learn. That's how you really learn. It's like screwing shit up,
Yeah, no, I screwed a lot of stuff up.
That's the best way to learn, really.
That's it, right? Everyone goes through that journey, and solving those problems yourself is when that's when the learning happens. And the forum was always like that. Like when I'd post stuff on there, because it was probably not as active these days, Jed, as it was back even 4 or 5 years ago.
No, I mean, I don't know. And well, I've had forum issues, and I really need to upgrade it, because I've kind of been an absentee landlord for, I don't know, the last 4 years. I just pay it and just pay and I don't know.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm glad it's still there. Thanks for keeping that going.
Yeah. Well, when I was going to upgrade it back in 2017-ish, I believe. And then I was like, no, whatever, I'll just wait. And then they totally did a whole redo on the database stuff. PHPBB did. And now it's easier. They fixed the flaws to upgrade. Like you had to do all kinds of weird file manipulation and stuff to upgrade from 3.0 to, I think it's 3.3 now. And now you just got to delete some files, and it'll convert the database for you and all this fun stuff. So it should take me probably a day to do it. I just have to find time. Yeah. Because it really needs to be upgraded. It's pretty bad.
Well, it's fine. Like, I mean, I access this thing all the way from bloody Australia, as you know. Hosted in the US somewhere, I'm assuming, right? It's fine, man. Like, it's...
Well, no, it's more of like the spam bot stuff, because it's so old, the spam bots won't even go to it anymore. Like the spam bots don't even mess with it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess that problem's solved. Just be so old, the spam bots don't mess with you.
Probably a good thing. We've got a question here from Robert. I'm going to jump to it. What are the answers to the questions to register? So back to that, I'm assuming it's still not Joey's cat. What are the
questions now? That's what
I have to look it up. I know one of them was like something simple, like just it was E equals IR and stuff like that. I have to look them up.
Like a capacitance question.
Yeah, I haven't looked them up in a while. And like, what company did Soldano in the early 90s design an amp for, and that was Yamaha, the T100 series or T50, whatever.
I reckon that was the question. That might have been the question that I had to answer way back when.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I put in Jet City or something like that and got it wrong.
That's why it said that
Trick question,
the early 80s, 90s or something.
The Jet City stuff was, I think, 2004 or 5 or something.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Dave in New York just got his Alta today, so that's cool, man. I'm happy that it arrived safely. Thanks to Shea.
Awesome.
Good job.
Helping me out there. We got a question here from Ben. It says, as amp makers, what irritates you about pickup builders? Are there fallacies about pickups that drive you guys nuts?
There's fallacies about everything that drive me nuts, but it's
not even the amp world, man.
That's a pretty broad statement, but pickup makers, if it sounds good to you, it sounds good to you.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Yeah.
I don't care who makes it. I don't care what price you pay for it. It sounds good. It sounds good. The end.
Yeah, sure.
Like, the scatter winding thing is an actual, proven scientific, that's been proven, through the scientific method that scatter winding helps out. Other than that, what else is there? What magnets are you using? What, gauge of wire doesn't really matter unless you want to fill it up and make, one of those ridiculously 17K pickups. Like, why?
Yeah. I don't use those. I think they're a little overbearing.
Well, you're gonna you can only slam the input so hard, and then you're putting a boost in front of a 17K pickup. All you're gonna do is make a square wave generator.
Okay. Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can always increase the output of your pickup with a boost, but it's very hard to pull it back once it's already super hot.
I don't know. I like mine around between 10 and 12K. That's where I sit. But
same man. Yeah. I think it's super like a pickup with clarity.
Yeah,
especially a pickup with clarity when you're designing stuff. Like that's what you don't want to design anything on a pickup that has a 17K or anything like that. Really,
no, I don't. Yeah, it's like you're overloading your tuner at that point. Like your tuner doesn't even know what it's doing because it's like, I didn't want to receive a 1-volt signal from a freaking pickup.
There's been a lot of pickup questions here.
There is.
I've noticed that.
Every week we get a few. I think our mate Ben here, who's in Adelaide, Australia, always contributes with a few pickup comments. There's a question here from Victor, who's interested in DIY. He says, I found a Kalamazoo amp schematic model 1. It looks like a fixed bias single-ended amp. Am I correct? Any of you guys familiar with that amp?
I'm not familiar.
No, I'm not either. But Kalamazoo, sounds like what was Gibson making guitars out of there for a while?
That is a Gibson amp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hell, Jason, you can always pull the schematic.
Yeah, I mean, a schematic one, a fixed bias. Are you sure it's fixed bias single-ended? Because it should be usually those lower budget amps are cathode bias, not fixed bias.
Yeah,
I have seen fixed bias single-ended, but that's usually kind of silly. It's a waste of parts.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that one. I have seen it before. It's old. I believe it's old.
Yeah.
Okay, I've just found a Model 1 schematic. Definitely single-ended. And cathode bias by the look.
Yeah, it's not fixed bias. Yeah. It should have been cathode bias.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to spend money on that.
Yeah. So we answer this stuff in real time, man. So there you go. Yeah, there's not much to it. Like, 2 stages and then into the single-ended power section, and of course it's tube rectified.
Yeah, old school then. But was the preamp tube like a 6S or 6L something
that they used in the ATM?
If I read this, it's really fun. It's God, I'm gonna need to zoom it in. Hang on. 6BQ5. Am I reading that correctly?
That's the preamp? That should be the power amp.
Sorry, yeah, that's the power. So
Yeah.
I thought that was your question. Sorry, just 12AX7
Okay.
and the preamp. Sorry, I thought you asked about the power amp. Yeah. Yeah, Victor's got the schematic. There you go. Or you should be able to. You can, now that we've talked about it, you can go back and look at the schematic and see if you can make sense of what we just said. Yeah, and Alex said, if Jed or Joey say something, you listen. Yeah, man, 100%.
I would go take Joey over myself by tenfold, but
AX84 channel. I don't know if that's a reference back to the original forum that you were talking about, Jed. But he goes on to say, I actually asked Mike Soldano if he was cool with sharing SLO schematics on the site. I was surprised he took my call. He wasn't cool with it.
Yeah, that should have been Chris Hurley. Yeah, and that's totally why I started it myself. Well, I drew the schematic myself, or redrew it, and so
Which did you start? Would you start with the SLO 100?
Yeah. And then a couple of people started doing the X88R stuff, and that's about as far as, because I had done a few layouts for the and board designs for the X88R as well. I think they're still up.
How were they different at all as far as was it basically the same amp?
And I did some different stuff as far as the bias circuit goes.
Okay.
And then I added a provision for the the mute LDR on the clean channel, which it does bleed through. You can absolutely hear it if you turn down the gain and volume on the lead channel. You can totally hear the clean bleeding through, and they're out of phase. And I'm pretty sure most people are aware of that they're out of phase.
Yes.
What you said? Is it what X80R or what is it?
X88. It was a 3-channel Rackmount preamp that Mike did.
Was that the first one that he did? I'm not too familiar with those.
Yeah, neither.
No. The first one he did was the 77.
Okay.
It was the 2-channel. It was basically a 2-channel with 2-tone stack Soldano or SLO thing, and he had those. Was a part of the series too, and those were made in Japan, if I recall.
Oh wow.
And then I don't know. And then he did the the SLO 60, which was also made in Japan. He was trying to farm out stuff, as what I recall.
Are there any good mods for those, the 77s, Jed, Series 2? The reason for my question is because a guy here in Melbourne actually reached out to me 3 days.
I will just go through them. Like the schematic that's floating around is kind of funny to read. The output is just awful because they're taking the output from a plate. So they're doing they're taking, the plate, and they're doing I just looked at it the other day, like the 100K to a 4.7K resistor for the output from the plate. And I'm like, why don't you just do a cathode follower? It's way lower impedance. It's going to sound better in the long run. It's less susceptible to noise, that kind of stuff. So that would be one mod I would totally do.
That's cool.
Man, I'll tell you what, some of those old rack mount preamps are fetching some serious money.
Everything's fetching money right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's true.
I've asked almost everyone who's been on, I've asked about rack gear and whether there's going forward, there's actually a market for rack-based preamp products. And it's interesting, the responses that I've get. Jed, what do you think? Do you think there's a market?
Well, I just got asked on the Sloclone forums. I've had a X88R design for a while, the PCBs and stuff, and I was like, well, if we're gonna do 3, why don't we just do 4 channels on it? And there was enough response to where I'm working on it right now.
Awesome.
I have the design. I don't know if I can share my screen or anything like that, but
I think you can. I've never actually tried, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, I've done it, but I don't know whether you're a participant.
Yeah. I don't have the power. I don't have the power.
You can, yeah.
Oh, there's present. Oh, I can share screen. Yeah, I see it right there. Hold on. Let me see.
Is it going to be you in a Speedo?
Oh, that's what everybody wants to see.
You're going to troll us all right now.
Oh, it looks like. Oh, let me see a window. Oh, here we go. Let me see if that works. You guys seeing that?
Yeah, I can edit. There we go. I can see you.
Okay, well, that's a different one. Hold
Look
on.
at that.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Okay,
That's
this is the first on the channel, man.
Yeah, no, this is it. No, this is the design. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the preamp I'm working on.
Looks awesome, man. Some serious engineering going on there.
Oh yeah. Holy moly.
So let me unshare that real quick.
Big respect to you guys that do that, man. I mean, I've never ventured down that road. That's why I have Jason. God, it seems so time.
Yeah, and you're not, man. Don't start because
no,
then
I'm not going to.
Because then you won't need me anymore. And
I'm fine with where we're at, dude. We're good.
That's cool.
If I started now, it'd be starting at the beginning, and it's like
you got to start somewhere. I mean, when I drew it up, well, I was lucky enough to have I use AutoCAD at work a lot, and we use a lot of photometric stuff. So I literally took pictures, just photos that people had on the web, and then scaled them up, scaled them down, took a bunch of different ones, figure out, I'm within a millimeter.
This is a good question. So, as far as you making the forums, and you were talking about the other forum previous, when did you actually start doing the engineering aspect to this? As far as design,
doing my own stuff? Or?
Yeah, through whatever.
Oh, from day one.
Okay. Okay.
No, it was always
this stuff.
I just did it because I had the stuff, and I've only ever built one full clone for myself. Mm-hmm. Never built one for anyone else or anything. And that was in 2009.
Okay.
Prior to that, I would use the design. I would use the preamp and and other designs for other people for amps I had built, and then I had a different clean that I would do to combo with that, and that was about it.
Where did the AutoCAD come in and
Oh no, I've been using AutoCAD. Well, the first time I used AutoCAD was in 1990.
Okay, yeah, that's really what I was asking there. When did that? How did?
Oh no. I started. Well, my grandfather was a teacher. He got his master's from USC, and he made me start drafting in 4th grade over the summers that I'd stay with him. I had to do algebra problems and draft.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I was into it. It wasn't like, all right, I'm done. Let's go skateboarding now. Yeah, I'm done with your problems. He's like, my seniors can't even figure out these problems. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm going to go skate.
So, Jed, were you always interested in audio circuits? So the engineering stuff obviously started really early, right? As you just mentioned, but was applying that into audio electronics, was that always kind of front of mind? Or did that happen much later?
It just, okay, so here's a true story. In 3rd grade, my parents, let's see, I would have been, 8? So 83, 84-ish. My parents bought a brand new, one of those 80s that had the dual deck tape player, record player, receiver all in one thing.
We call those.
They gave me their old receiver. Yeah, they gave me their old receiver. And I was like, all right, well, I had these outputs, the RCA outputs, whatever. And I had a Walkman, one of those cheap, $30 Walkmans. And I had a Sesame Street record player.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So I hooked it all up to the receiver, so I could, just because I wanted to play tapes or have the ability to play tapes through, a receiver audio amplifier. I was like 8 years old. all right, well, let's just wire this thing up and see how it works. Well, it worked. So that was my start, I suppose.
That's cool.
That's super cool.
And then they made me fix all their stuff, which was fun.
What was that? Sorry?
Oh, they made me fix all their stuff, like when the VCR went out. Yeah.
Oh, well, man, that happens, right? That happens as soon as you've got any kind of skills in computing, electronics, or anything like that. You become the help desk guy for the whole extended family, not just your immediate family.
Oh, no, it was, it still goes on to this day. Something wrong with our computer. Did you try rebooting it? No. Does it say it needs an update? I don't know.
Fixes most things. AX84 channel says I learned a lot from Sloclone forums myself. Yeah, absolutely.
Chris,
and here's a guy.
Shouts out to Chris, dude. Chris Early, shout out.
Chris. Good to have you here, Chris. Here's a guy we all know from Sloclone forums.
Hi, Rob.
Rob Equinox. Hope you're doing well, man.
Well, he's contributed a lot too.
A lot.
He
a lot, man. I surely learned a lot from his postings, and thank you, Rob.
And I'm pretty sure he has a huge disposable income that I don't have because I have 2 kids, and they're both, one's in college and the other was not in college, but we still support him.
Well, it's a cool, like the thing about one of the things I wanted to say about what you created, Jed, is that it's actually for me particularly, and I'm probably for many others too, right? It's actually been a gateway for meeting people.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Like it's been in terms of a library of information and a learning facility and all the rest of it, it's been amazing. And through my learning curve, there's no way I would have got to do anything without that site.
Yeah. That place is a great place to meet like-minded people. I mean, that's where I met you, Jason. Like your 100%. Handle was Burger, your nickname. It's like,
that's it. It's just Burger. Yeah. It is. And I said to you yesterday, Jed, when we just had a quick test call, that one of the first guys I met on the forum was a guy, Kurt May, Kurt, if you're listening.
I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kurt's based here in Melbourne, and I met him only because of Sloclone forums, and he's become a dear friend of mine. Like, he's an awesome dude. And I'll tell a quick story about it, right? But I was at the point in my learning curve where I was close to finishing, or maybe I was halfway through my first non-kit build. Where
I've never built a kit.
Pull the parts. All I did, the first 2 amps I ever did, maybe 10 years ago, whatever, but just like everything you need in a box, right? Because I don't know. It seemed like an easy place to start,
And you should. I highly recommend that, because it'll come with documentation and all the other crap that I didn't have. Arrogant little ass that I am.
Yeah. Well, then you quickly go, okay, now I've got to take the next step. And the next step was pulling all the parts together yourself, right? And figuring out how to order stuff and, like starting to understand, I've actually got to be concerned about the primary impedance of an output transformer and all this kind of stuff. Right? When you buy a kit, you don't have to worry about any of that shit, right? You just get it all in a box.
Right.
And at about that time, and so the amp that I was attempting to build, which I did build it in the end, and I've told the story before on either this channel or maybe Tone Talk, I can't remember, but it was a Dirty Shirley style build using a turret board, and Kurt had already done one, and he'd also communicated with Dave on it. So Kurt had finished the build and then sent some pictures to Dave, and Dave had helped him out, right, and said, you're pretty much right, maybe try this or try that. And so we're communicating in this thread on your forum, and Kurt and I are, back and forth. And then all of a sudden he goes, are you in Australia? I was like, yeah, I'm in Melbourne. And he said, well, so am I. So we ended up meeting up, maybe the next week or whatever, and actually met in person. He's become an awesome friend of mine that just would never have happened. And the whole thing was Shea, obviously, right? Which we've probably spoken about a few times, right? Shea would never have happened without your site. So I think it's probably unintended consequences, man, but I think a lot of positive stuff has come out.
Well, totally unintended, coming from someone that has complete social anxiety disorder.
Hey, man, we all do, man. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that you mentioned Dave Friedman, because Dave is on Sloclone. He's a lot of his stuff was in him helping people reverse, not reverse, but just like making other. Man, that is just so cool of him to do that. And
I owe Dave a huge apology, but I'm gonna wait to meet him or talk to him to do that. So that's between me and him.
Right on. Yeah,
it's
right not. Who? I mean, if somebody asked me like, "Hey, could you help me build your amp?" I'd be like, "No." Like, so I mean, it's it's like that's really big of him to like.
Oh no, it was, and I took the wrong path on something that he was asking, and I took the low road, and that shit's on me. I learned from it.
Yeah,
don't be a dick. Not well.
That happens. Those
man, credit to you for saying that, man. That's
for sure. Cool. I mean,
so
those on Sloclone, those threads on like the Marsha and stuff like that. Those are gigantic threads, man. Like those are big topics on that site. So there's a lot going on.
And the best thing about those threads, because I've read the whole thing.
Oh,
all of it.
Man, you can learn so much there, Jay.
Man, that is it, right? It's not just like, oh, where's the schematic? That was it became a secondary thing. It's understanding what made it work.
And that's one of the things that Joey had. He had reached out to me. I made him basically the second-hand man there, and he's like, "Dude, I'm tired of this clone stuff." And this was pretty, fairly early on, 1 or 2 or 3 years after it started. I'm like, yeah, so am I. Like, and we'll let it happen, because my whole goal was like, pretty much anything's free game, as long as you're not like Billy Blades or someone like that. But
talk about Billy Blades, man.
Well, I had to bring it up because it was good. You were going to bring it up anyway.
I think that was getting brought up regardless.
Yeah, good old Billy Blades.
Rob, I mean, shit, look what Rob just fucking nailed every one of his amps and made a layout of it. It's like didn't even do a schematic, just a layout. So those kind of things there. It's like you think about the forum, it's like those kind of people are gonna come there that just like absolutely just completely copy something part for part, put it out and be like, this is mine,
and then say it's the tone of the gods.
The Holy Grail tone, this is mine, this is what it's called.
Like, dude, is this thing gonna catch on fire?
Oh well, there's that too.
I was, and then you put a quote unquote trademarked cup grabber on the top, so you're encouraging people to freaking put beer on top of their amp that has
the
Billy Blades amp had a cup holder on it.
It still does.
It is the best place to put liquid.
On top of something that has 500 volts flowing.
What could possibly go wrong? Peter McLean's asking, Jed, the OD3 was an ambitious project. I believe you did 3 runs of those. Are there any plans for another? What is the OD3? Let's maybe talk about that first, and then we can answer the question.
Okay, so the OD3 was a design that I came up with to have a 3-channel amp. And I was going to do it as, I'd sell you the board, sell you the chassis, and have all the documentation. So it was sort of there. And I actually only did 2 runs of it. First run went well. The second run, shipping costs, I lost my ass. Pretty much. It was, I was like, whatever. I quoted the prices. I wasn't going to change them. All right. So, I was a little ahead in the long run, but at the same time, no, that second run, but the OD3, it was an ambitious project, and I didn't think it was going to fly. And I had 2 crates, 2 full pallets of chassis delivered to my house. And I was like, oh shit, am I over my head? Mm-hmm. So I made my boys help me package everything up and ship it out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Got some help. What year was that? What year was the OD3? Like,
man, you're talking a long time ago. 2012, 2013, somewhere around there.
Okay.
There's still a whole thread on that, isn't there? And Jed, you did another board called the BP45. Is that?
Yeah, that was just a one that was supposed to be a drop-in replacement, a 2-channel where you could drop it into a JTM 45 chassis and have mean and clean, basically. Yeah,
All right.
And that one didn't really hit it off.
I never saw that. That's cool though.
I still have a bunch of boards sitting right there.
Oh yeah.
Hey man, put them up. Let's put them up on the site, man. Make sure the.
If they want them, it wasn't that. I didn't really document it all that great, and it was just kind of, I don't know. I never finished my own build yet, so there's that too.
Yeah, well, verifying, because it's verifying that your PCB works before you put it up for sale is always a good.
I didn't do that with the OD3.
Oh shit!
It was like, oh shit, and then I forgot that
you're crazy for
that. No, and there was one flaw in it, and it was I didn't have pull-up resistors for the switches for the panel switching.
Oh yeah,
but I had laid it out correctly to where all you had to do was put the resistor pack through the board and then just tie it in to the bottom of the board and you're good to go. So I got lucky on that one. And I didn't do the MIDI code either. And that I wanted to thank who was that did the MIDI code for that? Damn. I have to look it up, but cheers to him. I learned a lot from that too. How to code.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a question here. Phuket My Mac says, I've learnt repairing electronics by screwing around watching YouTube videos. When it comes to amps and voltages involved, what do you recommend to not kill yourself? So much want to learn.
Okay, one hand in the pocket is always a good one because I've shocked myself with 500 volts before. It wasn't very fun. Yep. You sit there like this and you try to back off, but DC, it's trying to keep you there. You're like, well, that was freaking stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
It humbles you really quick when that happens.
Yeah, it does.
You get really cautious about working on amps after that first.
Oh yeah, the 500. Yeah. And it was totally like, I had 3 different thoughts in my mind going, I got to check this, do this, move stuff around and oh shit. Yeah. But you don't get to pull away at first. You get to sit there for like, those 5-10 milliseconds going, oh, that's fun.
Awful.
Is my heart going to die?
It's better than coffee, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, you certainly know you're alive. I think that you do get into a routine, or it's probably more than that. It's a necessary habit of. I just check. I'm constantly checking now. Like, is the amp on?
Oh yeah.
Is it plugged in? Like,
there you go. Yep.
Use your digital multimeter to just actually measure the voltage on the mains cap.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, when the amp is off, you take your multimeter and check to see if there's any voltage left in the amp.
Because there will be. I mean, generally speaking, if you when I power the amp, if I'm working on an amp on the bench, I'll power it down just on the main switch. So I've got my variac on the bench, so I'm always controlling the voltage that the amp is seeing. Here obviously 240. Or maybe lower if I'm kind of just testing something. But I will just flick the mains there and leaving the amp fully out of standby because it'll drain the filter caps more quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because the power tubes are still hot enough to draw current and they'll pull the voltage out of your filter caps real quick. But you still got to check, man. I had a guy bought around, it was a few years ago now, 1959 hand wired, the Marshall hand wired amp. Before, this is with the old Transformers show.
Shit.
Anyway, he'd
don't bring that up yet. Don't bring that up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. This is Pete. It was Pete Wagner, who's posted a bunch of my mods in some of the Facebook groups. So Pete bought this 1959 hand wired around that he just got completely stock. He'd just taken it to a local music store to demonstrate it to some of his friends there or whatever, right? Turned it off and then bought it here. It had been turned off for half an hour. Easy. I pulled the thing out of the chassis, started poking around in the amp and got a shock. So, and quite a decent one. So some, depending on the design of the amp, they can still charge for quite some time, So always check.
I have a fun capacitor story. So I was lucky enough to take electronics in high school as well. We actually had classes like that back then.
Yeah.
And I put an electrolytic in backwards.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
You've done that.
It's a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Because and it took a good minute. And I was like, oh, shit, I put it in backwards and it totally blew up everywhere. There's this fluffy stuff that smells like burnt peanut butter, but it's not. It's really corrosive chemicals to humans.
Oh, shit.
And my teacher was like, what the fuck did you do now, Jed? And he actually was like, what the fuck did you do?
Well, thank God you weren't standing over it.
Oh, no, I was sitting right. I wasn't standing face up. No, I was kind of behind it. And I was like, you turn and, do the duck and turn like you do for, a nuclear bomb or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, that's serious shit, man.
I got in a little trouble, but he still gave me an A. So,
hey, I will say this about, his question. If you have an amp that you do have like if you turn the amp off and it's still holding voltage, you can take 2 insulated alligator clips and then make a solder them to like a 10K resistor, 2 watt or so, and then you just find the voltage and then you clip the other one to ground, so you just bleed off the voltage.
You can do that. I mean, I would tend to use a higher just because, but
but that's the way to get rid of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is so some of the mains caps, Shea, will have kind of bleed resistors on them already, right? So
right.
If you have the the amperage leveling resistors on there, you have a free bleed.
Yeah,
it'll bleed everything out. So.
Yeah, this is right. And he goes on to say why people like Dave Friedman doesn't like the SLO circuit. Well, that's a question for Dave, and maybe you can ask him that. I think Dave might be coming on again next week with Bruce. But I don't think it's not that Dave doesn't like it. I mean, I've spoken to him about the circuit a lot and heard him talk about it. I think he just thinks that it could probably be a little bit more martially.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that circuit doesn't hide your playing. And that's one of the things that, that gets a lot of, poo-poo on it is it doesn't hide your playing. Whereas I need as much, hiding as I need.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I was, again, maybe we can get Dave to answer this when he's on next, but he's definitely spoken about, I mean, he's probably like me and many others, Shea, you too, right? Like more kind of Marshall DNA and likes the 2K 7.68 bypass cathodes.
Yeah,
rather than the 1.8 and 1 microfarad kind of cathode thing.
Well, the SLO circuit, I mean, it's meant to be, the whole thing is meant to be clean until it's not. I mean, it's high headroom even in the dirty circuit until you hit that clipping resistor. It's meant to stay high headroom, quick pick attack, doesn't hide anything, and that's what he was going for, and that's what he got. And another fun fact is that clipping resistor was only supposed to be 3.9K instead of 39K.
Right. Yeah. It was an accident. Hey, Jason, I want to answer. I just want to mention something about this. Terry Daniels, just up a little bit. He's mentioned the parallax in Shea's guitar from the video you created through your Alta is nasty. Yeah, that's okay. So we were talking about pickups earlier. It's a Seymour Duncan parallel access, not the distortion version, but the original version, which has more clarity. It has like an A5 magnet. But that guitar or that pickup, I love that pickup, man. And it's really, I know they used it in the Brandon Ellis Jackson signature. Actually, that's how I found out about that pickup. It is super clear and it sounds awesome. Like my favorite pickup is the Super Distortion, and this is probably the closest thing I've found to it And yeah, if you guys check that one out.
This is the one, Shay. This is the guitar. It's the Jazzmaster with the pickup's got like the two poles kind of
Yep.
on each string.
The pickup was actually designed for a Floyd guitar. I think it only comes in that one size, 53 millimeter or whatever. But
so it's specifically bridge pickup at that point.
Yeah. It sounds killer though, man. It's so clear, but it still has like all of the good frequencies everywhere else that are, it feels good. It's great pickup.
Oh, well, I don't have one. I should
try one. Yeah, try one of those.
Marvel says live schematic breakdowns totally make this channel. Yeah, man. I don't know if anyone else is doing live schematic breakdowns, but you can get it here for sure.
How far down that rabbit hole do you want to go?
Yeah, man. Really,
we could go. I mean, shit, we could take this one pretty far.
Yeah. I have drives of stuff of schematics that, like, shit, I know I have it somewhere.
This question here, Victor. I know there's a sound difference between fixed bias and cathode bias. I actually built an amp based on the mini board that I've got, where you can switch between fixed and cathode bias. And I recorded some riffage into a looper and played it through the amp, recorded it and flicked the switch and recorded it. I got a video on it. You can go and have a listen to it and see if you can spot any difference between. It's a pair of 6v6s in the power section. You see if you can spot any difference in the sound. There definitely is.
Oh yeah, no, cathode bias is. I'm not a particular fan of it, but
yeah, I agree. It's a thing, but it's not necessarily a thing that you might like.
I'm not, 75 years old still playing, whatever that is.
Geesberry says, definitely would buy a PCB for a 4-channel preamp. There you go, Jed.
Yeah, it's rack mount. It's meant to be rack mount, but I mean, obviously, I'm just selling the board. I'm not, or the boards, because, and if you choose not to use the front panel board, I don't care. I'm also throwing, for freebies, like a 2 relay board on there, and then a heater board just because it fit the panelization. So.
Tim's saying, talking about rec gear going up in prices, have a Soldano space box that costs more than I want to admit. For those who don't know, it's a 3-unit analog tube-driven reverb rate.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with that, and it's Soldano's. Well, basically, it's his take on. Did the space box have the tremolo?
I'm not sure.
How do they sound, man? Like, I've never had one, never tried one.
It's just a rack mount trem. I mean, it's basically the old Fender was the G15 units that were just the reverb, and then someone, I think Weber was one of the first ones that came out with the reverb and the tremolo unit at the same time, or combined them together. But yeah, it's a rack mount reverb. Literally, you can buy a PCB that's about that big for digital reverb these days.
This is it. Here's a question here from PF. Hey, Jason and crew, love the show. Thanks, man. Recommendations on an LCR meter for testing caps. I've got a little handheld one, just a cheapie. It's a Handtech. I got it on Amazon. It's about yay big.
Yeah, those. Get that. Yeah. Don't get the little tiny ones that are just super duper cheap, because those.
I'll see if I can find the model for you.
Yeah.
It's really great, and it'll measure inductance as well. So I've used it to check chokes, for example, and it'll measure very accurately. It'll measure.
You can buy a digital multimeter that'll do the same thing now these days if you want to spend some cash.
Yep.
This is the
And
one
I
I've got.
recommend doing that too.
Yeah.
Don't
Good
go
tools
cheap.
are worth it.
Yep.
Good tools are definitely worth it.
I've just posted it in the chat, guys. The one that I'm pretty sure this is the one that I got. It's a Handtech 1832C. I'm pretty sure that's the one.
Right
And
on.
it works great. Man, now that I've got it, I've had it for a little while now. It's just a must-have.
So I'm seeing Murray Guitar saying if he scatter wound a super distortion, it would sound thin and weedy. That's interesting.
Where's that comment, Jed? Is it further up? If I missed it.
629. So yeah, it's towards the bottom.
You're a pickup guy, man. I don't know anything about pickups. All I know is it's a magnet with some wire.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Sword transformers. And if you want to get on that topic, I'll bring Alex into that.
Yes.
Let's get on that topic right now.
Yeah. He made me design a spreadsheet for how to make your own transformers.
Did you do this work on that spreadsheet, Jed?
Yeah. No, I did my own.
Oh, all right. Of course you did.
It's like, well, Alex, I'm blaming Alex. He made me do it.
Well,
Jason, do you want to talk about the transformer thing that we uncovered?
Okay.
The fucking scandal of all scandals.
The scandal.
Christmas. Oh, so, we've uncovered something real crazy.
What's that?
Well, look, I think it's a freaking scandal, but
it is.
Others might think it's a nothing bloody non-event. So, I got shipped in brand new 2203X, JCM 800 reissue, the 100-watt from Marshall.
Oh, is this the one that Alex rewound?
No, that was an old one.
Oh,
what Alex rewound the output transformer in that was a 1983 or 82 800. So we kind of managed to, well, not we, Alex managed to keep the old iron, right, and rewound that output transformer. Again, I kind of kicked myself for not doing an A/B on that. And I should have if I had my shit together, I would have recorded, the amp. Well, mind you, it came in with a blown OT, so I couldn't actually record it. So, but the amp sounded awesome afterwards. So I will say that. No, but the one I'm talking about is it's a brand new reissue of which, for anyone who's doing it,
2023.
2023,
yep.
2203, X. Still had the Marshall tag on it, on the handle, straight off the shop floor. The guy bought it and shipped it straight to me. So I don't think the amp had even been turned on, and I didn't turn it on. I just went straight into modding it. I didn't even turn it on to test it at work because, why bother? I'm kind of I just get straight into modding these days. So anyway, I finished my mod and powered the thing up and it worked, whatever, right? And then I noticed this 1 kilohertz ringing, like, woo, and and I was like, what the hell is that? I grounded the input to the phase inverter straight away, just wanted to, because I couldn't hear. I was like, that's not coming out of the speaker. Where is that coming from? And it was a mechanical, upper order harmonic coming straight from the power transformer.
Oh, I've had that happen with a Hammond.
Yeah, right. And
what was the B plus that you had on your mains?
420.
420 on a brand new 100-watt Marshall JCM 800.
And most here a little low.
Well, it is because most of the Marshalls we get here, those reissues, they have got the 3-way voltage selector, and the greatest position is 230 volts. They have what is it, 100, 120, 230 maybe, and of course we're 240 at the wall here, so most of the 2203Xs that I've had on the bench will push out 460, 450 maybe. So 420 straight away was like, well, that's weird. But I was like, I called phone a friend, right? Who do you call when you got a transformer problem? I called Alex. So
You got a friend.
we were chatting, and I was like putting the phone up like he could hear it, right? Listen to this, and it's like woo, and I just touched the side of it, the bell end, and it would stop. So we discussed a few different options of trying to solve this problem, and in the end, Alex suggested, he goes, "Why don't you hit it with a hammer?"
And he did.
I know, fucking did. I got a rubber mallet, right, with a big fucking heavy end on it, and I fucking smacked the end of this power transformer, and it stopped. It solved the problem. Absolutely. But then I started looking. So that was like, okay, not
but
good.
The voltage is still low.
The voltage is low. It's a brand new amp. Right?
This story gets even better. Just wait.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. All right.
So then I started looking at this power transformer, and it's like, what? This is not a diagonal. Mm-mm. We know what they look like, right? I've been looking at these amps for freaking years. The diagonal.
You bought a Charshel. A Chinese Marshall, a Charshel.
That's like a Chibson, but the Marshall equivalent. Yeah. Well, we've all worked on. Well, I know Shea, you have, right?
Yeah.
Many Marshall Origins.
Oh yeah, I might be frozen up by now.
You are frozen, man.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It'll take a second.
Yeah, you look very seriously frozen.
Yeah.
Keep going. It'll fix. Go ahead.
I've worked on a bunch of the Origins, obviously, and I know what those transformers look like. They have a particular look about them. They've got like a very kind of yellowy varnish, lacquer, or whatever it is that is used. And they're the same transformers that are used in the Studio Series amps as well, which are
those are the ones made in Vietnam, right?
Yes. So Marshall have a big factory in Vietnam, right? Everyone kind of probably knows that now. And a lot of the stuff is obviously manufactured there. The Studio Series stuff, I've put an Origin and a Studio Series side by side, and they're identical. The PCBs are identical, the components, the pots, the transformers, everything. Different head cap. Studio Series has a really nice head cap. The Origins, kind of MDF, not quite so nice. But at the higher end, like you think about the vintage reissue series, the big 100 watters that, in the US, these amps are $3,500 US.
I'd have to look them. I don't even look at them.
I had to look on Sweetwater. So anyway, cut a long story short, this amp has Vietnamese made transformers in it.
Yep.
They are not the old diagonal PT and OT that we are very much used to seeing. I just know the look of them, right? You think about the way those transformers are assembled, the bolts that hold the ends on are halfway down the transformer. Go and have a look at any 2203 pictures, right? I've actually got this amp right here.
Hey, Jason.
And I could show you.
Jason, kick me out for a second.
Oh, all right. Hang on.
Sorry, boys.
No, you're still frozen and angry.
I got to rejoin.
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
So we're showing this in real time, guys. This is the amp. And if you look.
Yeah, look at those. So
those aren't diagonal transformers.
No, a diagonal has the bolts right in the middle. They have the bolts right in the
middle. Those aren't even those are Chinese transformers.
Nah,
Vietnamese.
They're Vietnamese. We've got all the fucking info on this already.
So you can check this, right? So you can compare these two. Oh, it's still heavy. I'll give you that much. You can compare those to what's on an Origin or the Studio Series amps. MAV. There's a designation on the sticker.
MVA.
No, it says MAV. It's
okay.
Marshall. It's an abbreviation for Marshall Vietnam.
Yeah.
So, I guess what I discovered with this amp, because I had never seen one. I mean, I worked on quite a recent 2203, maybe a 2022 model, and it still had the diagonal transformers on it. So it was just a bit of a shock, man, for me.
It's
so
sad.
they're pulling a fast one somewhere.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, man. Because those old Marshalls are now gonna go fucking haywire when people find out about this shit.
Like, everything's gone haywire, but
yeah. Well, this is even gonna make it worse. And here, get ready for this. So this whole thing of us figuring this out has been going on for a while, because I have a brand new 2023 1959 HW hand wired plexi. Yeah. So that is their top model, right?
Yeah,
it's nearly $4,000, right?
It's $3,800 in the US, and it's got a Vietnamese output transformer in a 2023 hand wired amp. Could you fucking believe that?
Well, it's Marshall. They're owned by what, Korg now, or is Korg?
Yeah, they had, they went through a new ownership recently.
Yeah, it's owned by
Sounds.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, look, I finished the mod on this amp, and it sounds, well, don't know about the mod, right? We'll forget about the mod for a second, but the output transformer works. It's like
make it sound good.
It's making a sound, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're making them to the right spec, right? You think about transformer specifications. Obviously, it's Marshall.
Yeah.
It's within the company, right? So there's no secrets there. They would be winding them to the spec. But are they making them to the same quality? Probably not yet.
They're making those output transformers to the same quality that are in the Origin amps.
Yeah.
So you do the math on that.
Okay? Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, I've never had a power transformer. I've had mechanical hum from a PT before, Jed, but it's been more like 50 hertz, a low rumble. This was 1K.
So I'm wondering how that happens, because, and maybe Alex might want to chime in on this, because you have to have something funny going on to get like a 1K feedback, almost a feedback hum from it from somewhere. I mean, where's
I actually thought I had my test signal generator on. I was looking around going, hang on, that's turned off. Because it sounded like...
no, I mean, that doesn't, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Because, I mean, I've wound some transformers, and you're not going to get 1K, you're going to get mechanical hum, unless there was a 1K resonance, and you said it was an output transformer, right?
This was the PT.
Oh, it was a power transformer. Yeah. No, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Where are you going to get 1K from?
It's just an upper order harmonica 50 hertz, and
how many orders?
Yeah, but Ben, it's like I have never witnessed anything like this, and it's 100% was what it was, and I took some video of it, and maybe I'll do a video on my channel. We'll see.
Yeah.
When I touch the when I touch the
P, be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
We just
we're just some underground shit here, man. When I touch the PT with the side of it with my hand,
I would, if I were you guys, I would out this shit totally. I mean, that's bullshit.
Check out dude. Tell them the voltages.
Well, it was 420.
So what were the voltages? They weren't even
420. So you're at 420. No. You're maybe at 300 max. 300.
No, the AC.
Yeah, the AC.
Yeah. No. The input AC. It was 125.
Oh yeah. That's on the sticker on the side. So on the PT, on the label on the side, right, which is got the MVA and some model number and blah blah blah. It's got 125-225-245-, which says to me that the primary is being geared up for 115, 125, or 245 volts, so that when you run it at 240, the HV's down. You know what I mean? Like it's varying on the side of portion.
Well, whereas we're always like, oh well, 120 is good, but I mean, my wall voltage varies between like 123 to 127 depending on the day. And
it's like a small variax built in. They've just dialed it down.
Yeah,
that's probably why I'm getting 420 on the thing.
That's crazy.
It's so crazy. Yeah, man, it blew me away. I was in disbelief about this, to be honest.
Well, that makes it. Well, the fact that it, hand wired transformers made in England or whatever they're supposed to be made, but they weren't, and they're still trying to charge 4K for that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. The funny thing is the PT in the hand wired amp that I have is still the lay down. It says Dagnell on it.
Yep. The big one.
Maybe they just had bought a whole bunch of these. They haven't moved that PT over to that factory yet in Vietnam, but the choke is definitely Vietnamese. The output transformer is definitely Vietnamese, and it sucks to see it because it's like Marshall. I mean, I love old Marshalls and I love like the history of it and the Dagnells and the Drakes and all that stuff, and it's just really
love it.
It's just a bummer. Like I'm just.
Well, I mean, look what Hartley Peavy did to his company. He went into undercover boss, going this stuff, Oh man,
yeah.
And then he moves all of his shit to China. All of it. It's like, well,
but Peavy shit was cheap too. It's like they're still charging 4K and not even telling anybody.
Yeah, and that's just robbery.
Wrong. It's wrong.
I'd love to get into the politics of that shit, but that's not what this shit. That's not what
We're just here to complain about transformers. This amp actually has a bit like your Shea. So the 1959 hand wired that you're working on has a Dagnell PT, but the Vietnamese OT, and you've got a Vietnamese choke. Well, this amp here has got the Dagnell choke.
I know. So it's backwards. They're all reversed. It's like,
so it's clearly just working through the old, whatever's left of the Dagnell stock has been used.
That's been the Marshall way the whole time, though. I mean, if you look at even old Marshalls, we didn't have that resistor on hand, so we're just going to throw something else in. It's not like, and it's like buying a diesel amp. You don't know if it's been modded from the factory or not because diesel's gone through so many revisions they don't even tell you about it, and then you get a diesel in, and it's like,
that's true. Yeah, that's true. I'll tell you this, man. Those that output transformer sounds different. I've done a mod on this. It's like a newer mod that I do. And it sounded after I did it, I said, "What the fuck?" It sounds just a little hair different. It's like I feel like the transformers sound more hi-fi in a way.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's something different there, and people will be fucking totally pissed about that once they figure that stuff out.
Well, you got to also look at the laminations they were using in the transformers too. I mean, I love the M6 laminations. Yeah. The old transformers used like what?
M19 or something.
M19, M20. They were the milder steel, not as efficient, but that's what they. That's what they.
These might be M6. Honestly, they're thin. They're very thin. So it might be. Not quite sure. It doesn't sound bad. It just sounds just a hair different.
It's just different. This is it, right? It might not be.
It's not the sound you're expecting.
It might not be, but it is different. We'll move on with the questions. We might come back to the Marshall scandal. Fucking scandal. Morris.
And it doesn't include me.
And you heard it here first, people. We break all the fucking big stories here. Morris is asking, question for Shea. Any plans for a 2 or 3 channel skeleton key? Shout out to everyone from Manila.
So a few things. I've done the skeleton key for 3 years now with a few production runs, and it's done really well. It's done really great, and I'm super stoked. I love the amp still. A lot of people are asking for a 100-watt version of that amp. Yeah, that's what
because they want to go deaf.
that's the big ask is okay, can we get the 100 now?
Literally,
And,
what's there, a 6 decibel difference? Or
it's
3
not
decibel
even too
difference
much,
between,
right?
yeah.
That's not even crazy amount, but that's what they want. So yeah, in the future, definitely. I mean, I would love to do. We've got some other, we've got lots of irons in the fire right now. But a skeleton key 100 watt with a clean channel, like a Fender style, or it's just a very clean channel, probably not like a Marshall bass clean. I'd love to do that. So we'll see what the future brings. Me and Jason are working on some stuff.
What you guys should do is cram a 4-channel amp in a 12-inch chassis with no, I'll show you.
No, man, I have no doubt, man. Why not make it 6 channels?
No, hold on. And I'm not kidding.
Fucking no. I know you're not.
Oh, where is that one? Oh, there we go.
You're gonna share a design, Jed?
Boys, I'm gonna stay on for just a little bit longer, but I gotta take an intermission real quick and hit the bathroom. And I'll be
right, man.
When you guys see that?
When you come back, Shea, we need to address this question here about Club Secret as well.
Okay. Yeah. I'll BRB.
So can you guys see that one?
Yeah, I got it. I got it up.
Yeah. 4.2 channels.
Okay, what is it? What are we looking at here, man? What's this one?
It's my version of a lot of things.
Is this the same one we were looking at before?
No.
Oh.
This is a full 4-channel, up to 50 watts, crammed in a 12-inch chassis.
That's killer. So I can see, down the bottom a front panel board. Like I can see all the pots, PCB mount. Okay. I can see the main board. What have you got down the back there? Okay, so there's a board at the back there for all the speaker jacks. Probably.
Well, it's also got a mid cut, 3 loops. Yeah.
You got a MIDI Logic board there.
Yeah.
A look of it on the left, kind of top left. What's going on the right there? A bunch of relays.
Oh, that's just because I had to panelize it. That's just free shit. I just try to put whatever, if I have free space, I'll put freebies in for whatever.
Okay, and you've got 5 preamp tubes in this design. Are you running all of them off one regulator?
No, I'm doing the 4 off this. The one that's the PI, the phase inverter, is off AC.
Nice. I know you and I have chatted a lot about how many, like supplying enough reliable current
heat management
for 12-volt DC heaters. Yeah. Certainly, guys, when I was going through the design phase for the Alta, which has 5 12AX7s in it, all off 12-volt DC heaters, including the phase inverter, just because it's on the main board, and I didn't want to run AC onto the main board. Jed actually helped me quite a lot, trying to come up with some science-based calculation as to what kind of current supply I would need from the PT, but also how to balance the load on a regulator so that you could, reliably deliver 12 volts without a thing going into thermal shutdown. Because anyone's played with this before and hasn't, got a large enough heat sink on their, on their regulator or whatever,
or even a regular, a proper regulator.
Exactly. It's the whole part of design that you don't necessarily contemplate when you get into it, because you focus a lot on the audio circuit, right? I want it to sound good, and I'm going to have these features, and then you find yourself going down rabbit holes around, setting up DC supplies and all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no. So what are we using? A huge thermal FET to take the load, and then let the regulator do the minimal handling.
Yes, which is where I ended up. If anyone who's seen a gut shot of the Alta will know that there's 2 heat sinks in it. One's a current pump, and one's the regulator.
Works good too, man. Because that amp has been, not a single one of those has came back.
No, and there's
solid.
I did a tally up because I've got a list of my serial numbers going. Shea, 32 Altas have been built and gone out.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sick.
And
That's
not
awesome.
one of them's come back yet, so I'm happy about that.
Well, it's all about proper design in the end, and it doesn't hurt to have friends that you can talk to and bounce ideas back and forth. And
dude, critical.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the community. This is, again, we kind of said it a couple of times, Jed, but man, all of that's happened because of Sloclone. There's no doubt. Like those contact networks, big part of it, man.
Yeah, big part of it.
You did a thing, man. You created something cool.
It was literally a server in my laundry room at the time. No, it was. I don't know if my wife had we had bought a house, and it was literally 650 square feet, and which is small. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It was what we could afford at the time, and she was pregnant with our second kid, and it was all, I guess I'm going to run a server in the laundry room now for fun.
I bet that was
2 kids in diapers. We're going to run a server. Let's do that. That's smart.
Popular move, I bet.
That's great. I mean, if you
she was thrilled.
If you want to learn it's a great place to learn. There's so much there to learn.
Well, see, and I wish Chris wouldn't have, I don't know what Chris's circumstances were, Chris Hurley that did AX84, but that place had a shit ton of information too. Like,
really,
Paul Ruby, there was this guy named, his screen name was Alethian Alex. I learned a hell of a lot from him. And I know the database is somewhere, and I don't know if Chris is still, hearing or, on the chat or whatnot, but man, that was huge for me. So I'm going to give a huge shout out to that.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, your site's the same, man. I mean, I think that there's a great amount of information to learn there. And
it's overwhelming even for me if you go scroll back. Like, I know Joey said something and I should have listened to it, but I didn't at the time.
Yeah. I always loved that. It's like, you go back, like, once you figure something out finally and you've seen somebody say it before, and then you go back and you're like, oh shit, they were right. They were right then. And I just didn't, it's like I was being silly and fucking didn't even mess
like back in 5 years, like 5 years later, we finally figured it out. Yeah. Anthony is asking, so I'm gonna throw this question to you, Shea.
Yeah.
Is it time yet to tell us more about the club secret?
We posted clips. We posted clips yesterday, so I guess just some clips on our stories so we can talk about it a little bit. So basically last year when Jason was in the States, or this year, earlier this year.
It was back in May.
Yeah, and he didn't even go to In-N-Out. He was in LA. He didn't go to In-N-Out. I swear.
I thought you did. Didn't you?
No.
You didn't go?
No.
Like, well, I'm actually from New Zealand, so I can't go to In-N-Out.
Well, he had a lot of cheeseburgers regardless. So.
Oh man, I had more cheeseburgers than you could poke a stick at. I went to what's the one I did? Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
Yeah. Shake Shack. Yeah, that's a desert chain. Yeah. I actually thought, because so many people had said that to me, I thought you guys were having a joke, right? And I thought it was actually shit and not to go. Like, it was one of those, like, you should definitely go there, Yeah.
Oh, we should just take you to McDonald's or Burger King.
Yeah, we got that here. I don't need to.
Yeah,
I think we ate cheeseburgers. I don't know.
Well, your cheeseburgers were the best, man. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah,
did you grill your own?
Yeah, I've got a Blackstone, man.
Oh, nice. No, I have an insert for my my barbecue for the Blackstone, like not Camp Chef, but Blackstone. Just the insert for my barbecue.
Nice.
Just to, you know.
Smash burgers, man. With
Well, yeah, dude, that's where it's at.
Oh, I love it.
Man, it even made it onto a video clip, man.
Yeah, it's on a video clip. You gotta be careful with that stuff, man. Because I got that for Christmas last year. Next thing I know, I'm making cheeseburgers every day, and I'm like, holy shit, I've gained 15 pounds. Maybe
your doctor's all, what's going on?
Yeah, maybe chill out. But
your health insurance, when you renew it's going, well, you gained 15 pounds in 3 months. What's going on?
Yeah, but yeah, so the club secret stuff. So we were sitting here at my table in the kitchen, and we were just just wrapping ideas. Like we talk ideas all the time, and we said, man, maybe we should do like a joint, like do something that we work on together and like design together, and it's not like my brand, it's not your brand. Like we can just make it something new, something fun, kind of like a passion project,
Yeah,
those are the best.
Yeah, it's been fun so far. Yeah, well, so the original idea for it when we were talking earlier this year was, okay, let's do an amp for let's do like a small run amp for just like enthusiast guys. Maybe we'll put out 6 amps.
Oh, that's a teaser.
Well, it's not a teaser because it's not like, it's not.
Well, you can't just buy you can buy 5 to 10 boards. You have to buy them in 5 to 10.
It's not something that we're charging $12,000 for either. Like we're still going to charge like
if you're not common
the normal.
or,
we're still going to charge like the normal prices, right?
I spoke to Jimmy, but he wasn't available that day.
It's just something for fun, and I think it'll be cool. We've talked about it. I mean, we can sell more than 6, but the original idea was let's go in the kitchen of circuits. Let's go in the kitchen, make some shit up, make something kind of unique. Do that like every year. So we'll do one for 2023. We'll do one for 2024.
That's like a limited edition craft brew type thing.
Yeah, just something for fun, just something for fun. It's not about, obviously it's like there's 2 of us. It's like, it's not about the money. It's like, we're not going to make,
Oh, if you want to talk the money, I can go down the money road really, really, really far. But yeah.
But yeah,
was it the dude from Aiken Amps that famously said,
yeah,
how do you make a $1 million amp company? You start with 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not doing it for the money, but that's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. So we basically just wrapped up this. Jason has designed all the PCBs. He designed the chassis. And I built. So he sent me the boards, and then he did some revisions on his end, like where we were kind of like we started from something. We talked about it a lot, and then when he built the amp, and it's been a month or 2 ago when you built the amp, maybe a month.
Yeah, easily a month. Yeah.
And then you made some revisions on your end. You're like, I think, okay. So then I started the build. I built it this week. Yesterday, I got it up and running with your revisions, and then I changed like 4 parts in it. And the thing is now we've got something like that's kind of super unique.
That's cool.
And yeah, so it's like, damn,
and unique is cool.
Yeah,
it's been cool to actually kind of synchronize. It's really interesting, right? Because what happened in the last 24 hours was, Shea, you got the amp up and running. You made those handful of changes, Mm-hmm. You and I spoke about it this time yesterday, pretty much, right? Which is when we normally speak. It's your evening, and it's kind of middle of the day or early afternoon for me.
Yeah.
I implemented those changes. So it's like we synchronized, because I made some changes, then you brought yours up to that spec, and then you made some changes and I brought mine up to that spec. So it's really interesting kind of doing that tweaking and design process.
So I have a question. Are you guys tuning them to like the same cab, the same speakers, the same?
We're not even doing that. I mean, I'm on vintage 30s. What are you on, Jason?
and then greenbacks.
Yeah. See,
I'm on a mix of I like the Warehouse,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they're
like
good.
never
those.
tried those.
Yeah, they're really good. They
like
had to be the broken. I have a X pattern of the KT90s and the Reaper 55s. The what is it? The KT90s. They took a while to break in. At first, they were like super stiff, super stiff, super. I was like, dude, I hate these speakers. And then once they were broken in, I was like, oh wow, this sounds good. Of course, speaker swapping, pickup swapping, you can get into all that crap, and it's it'll change the whole character of an amp. I mean, even the cab. Like, who designed the cab? And another thing I used to do when I was in high school, we used to design speaker boxes for bass speaker boxes in the back for your cars.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
we did that. Yeah. We used to do that. So
that was big when we were kids, man.
That was huge, man.
Yeah.
Everyone modded their cars. Well, yeah.
Oh no, we used to design them ourselves, and we're like, oh yeah. Well, we could do the math. It was like, it's not that hard. Get the Q, get the Voss. Here's the then port them. Figure out what frequency you want to port it to. Sitting there using your dad's jigsaw, cutting those little PVC pipes like this, and your dad's all pissed off because you're ruining his blades.
Oh, I had them when I was in high school. I had them, believe me.
So did I. Well, we used to tune it. I used to tune it to actually 2 songs. It was a Carcass song off of Descanting the Insobrious, and then Vanilla Ice Baby. That's how I tuned it. And I didn't like, Vanilla Ice at all, but it was like, oh, here's a bass. Let's see how we do it.
Yeah.
That was fun. Good times.
Oh yeah.
So Anthony, man, we'll see. Yeah, Club Secret, man. Just keep your eyes peeled. I mean, in terms of release, Shea, we're probably we're on to the first of this fall.
We're the circuit is absolutely done now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to do faceplates. Faceplates won't take very long. We just have to, me and Jason have to agree on like the art that we're going to use for it, which we'll try to make that cool, a little different. And then, the goal is, now working with Kyle at KSR.
Right. I contacted Kyle recently just about because he has a pretty much full factory going on right now, doesn't he?
You got everything, man. Everything.
Yeah. It's the real deal. The homie's the real deal over there. It's no joke.
Yep. As I said on the stream, we said when Kyle was on, Jed, we read out someone had posted on his Facebook group, the KSR group. This guy is a customer of Kyle's, obviously had just been to visit him at the factory, and he described it as he said, KSR is the chocolate factory, and Kyle is Willy Wonka.
Kyle is another dude, surprisingly, that started off on.
He was there.
SLO, yeah.
Man.
Because when it's funny because when he gave us the tour, he showed us. He goes, "There it is, the amp. The first amp that he built was right there in his workshop." So he's been, he was there for a very long time, and he should be. I mean, he's a smart dude. There's so much great information there. It's a place to be.
Well, there was someone that posted. It was actually Vale posted in the Facebook group on the. I put the watch page up for this stream, and he says, I actually screenshotted it because I thought it was a cool comment. He goes, "That forum generated so many small businesses along the years."
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic Bible. So that was the other thing, Jed. We talk about the site having kind of unintended, consequences. Perhaps, right? Which,
some good ones and some bad ones, right?
Yeah.
Literally,
we'll just talk about the good ones.
Well, no, and just to highlight any bad, I have literally only banned myself 3 people in the whole time it's been there.
Yeah, right. And that kind of because people just using the forum to try and sell shit?
Well, obviously Billy Blades. And then there was this dude from Russia that was ripping people off. And then I can't remember the third one. But yeah, 3 people. the whole time, and I don't know how many members are still there.
And I know, because I've read the whole freaking thing back to front. John Sir was on the forum for a while too, right?
Yeah, he still has an account.
Yeah.
Everybody's there.
Everybody.
Even
Mark
if
Mark Cameron's there, and I'm not going to out him, but yeah, I know Mark Cameron's there.
I know his handle on there. Everybody's there.
Everyone there.
And it's like anybody who tells you they're not, it's fucking lying. Everybody is there. Anybody who is in the design,
well, yeah, they're all going to be like, "What's Joey Voltage say?"
It is,
yeah. Look, I think, and that's cool. Like, it's why not? Why not?
It's cool that we're talking about it now because it's been like a very like a secret underground like honeypot of just information, really.
Well, I never promoted anything. I've never charged anyone anything. I've never put ads up, and I probably should, but I don't like them. It bothers me.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, some people will see this with good intentions and go, join and learn and enjoy all of the history, because there's a lot of history on that site. Especially, it's like you talk about Friedman and Marcia and like all those threads, like all the old threads about Bachner.
It's not even like Friedman. There's some obscure information there.
Yeah.
That people just kind of maybe glance over that you should actually really dive into. Like, the Langley mods, all those other stuff.
Langner, Bogner. I mean, the early Bogner stuff, the fish, all that stuff. I mean,
the fish was a bad design too, because he mirrored the power input. If you look at it, his power's going right by his input too. I was laughing at that. I was like, so he had to put a copper pipe around the whole thing to try and shield the input.
Oh shit!
The original fish. If you look at it,
I didn't see that part.
Yeah,
this is the thing about layouts, right? So when you
have to remember, you either mirror the back or the front.
Yeah,
you have to remember that.
What I just kind of like, if I go down that rabbit hole for a second, Jed, you've done a lot of PCB work. What are any tips you can pass on to the guys, or maybe kind of pitfalls as well in terms of PCB and layout and that kind of stuff?
Don't try and cram as much crap as I do.
They're pretty busy PCBs, I'll give you that.
Yeah, but it works. I mean, I'm not trying to be like, Mesa.
Oh man, it's true. Like the guy I learned off is Don. I've mentioned his name a bunch of times, right? Don Kohinger, who's showed me the ropes for PCB design here in Melbourne. He just lives about 40 minutes away, and I always remember I've got these things in my head that he told me, and one of them was, separation is your friend, Jason.
Yeah.
Like, you put all this shit and cram it all together, right? You're going to get all kinds of bleed over. And
well, that depends on what separation you are.
Yeah, you need to be really mindful of it.
Yeah, but you still get away with it. Like, how much crap can I cram in? Can I get away with?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. That this new thing that Jason has created, this PCB design, all the preamp sockets are everything's on a PCB board, right?
Yeah.
And I've been working with Jason for a few years now, and it's just insane to see his progression and like where he's like what he's just designed now. I was blown away by. Like, I flipped it on and it's dead silent. And the design is amazing.
Yeah, and it comes down to and then there's also the grounding questions. Like,
yeah,
everyone's afraid of grounds. I'm like, dude, ground planes are your friend. They are totally your friend, but you can separate your ground planes to how you want them. And I did that on the OD3. I had everything ground plane to where there was one jumper from the power supply, and I was going, all right, why did I do that when it could just be one ground plane as long as you ground where things are supposed to be grounded properly? The end.
You come up with a recipe through trial and error, I think. That's how it worked for me, because I've tried every freaking scheme, grounding scheme under the sun, right? And And of course, we all know, like when you're learning this craft and you're working with a turret-based build or a point-to-point, to use that term, you can change shit easily, right? Oh, I'm going to break that ground there and reground it. Sorry, when you do it with a PCB,
you got to be on.
It's a lot harder, right? Like you kind of set. And I mean, I have, during prototyping phase, I've absolutely pulled boards out and cut traces with a box cutter and God knows what to try and, you go through that revision 1 or whatever, right, and try and get that thing right. And then revision 2, it's sorted. So PCB is fantastic.
Find where the noise is coming from.
Not the easiest thing to prototype with.
That was like when you had to, like your Alta, you had to run that one wire, shielded wire, over and then go. Yeah,
this is exactly right. So there's on the what Jed's referring to. There is the because it's the clean channel has its own cathode follower setup. So V in the board, it's got 5 preamp tubes, right? V1 and V2 is for the clean channel. And so when you go to channel 2, which is the first gain channel, it kind of starts at V3. So you've got to get the input signal across that, a stretch of PCB about that far. That's really prone to noise. So you need to think about all these kind of considerations in your design. I think it's kind of like, look, and the recipe thing. I mean, the grounding stuff. It's something I've studied a lot in terms of. I said to you, Jed, yesterday when we had a quick conversation. I said, I don't know when it was, but I stopped looking at schematics to understand, a circuit or a tone or whatever a little while ago, because all I'm really interested in now is construction method and things like grounding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Like a gain stage is a gain stage, is like interstage dividers or interstage. You can tweak all that shit once you kind of know how they work. But different construction methods that are used, layout, how the pot's done, how we're routing audio signal from the main board to the pots back again, all that kind of stuff is endlessly fascinating to me now, because it's much more about, I don't know, like the construction efficiency and engineering side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally a road engineer, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
Civil engineer. I mean, I've designed
shit
pumps and sewers and shit, but yeah.
Question here from Lucas. Great show, guys. Yeah, cool. Other than Mercury Magnetics, what brand of transformers do you recommend for upgrades? Or for custom?
I don't recommend Mercury at all, but that's just me.
I would agree. I mean, I've talked to them. I think they're nice guys over there. Hybor is really the only ones that I ever want to use for anything.
Well, I love the MCIs, but unfortunately they went out of business. But yeah, Hybor's been right to me from the beginning.
Yeah, and from what I understand now, a couple years back when things were all fucking sideways,
we couldn't get Relaser LMD 150.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, I remember that. Even a little bit before that, when the transformer issue was going on, and Hybor wasn't really taking in small orders. I believe that they're taking in smaller orders now. So
that's good, because
Dave Hopkins, Alex designed a PT set.
Yeah, no, that's what I saw. He gave him.
And Dave Hopkins just called Hybor and gave him, I don't know if he emailed the specs or whatever, but
the model codes. He's
they made him.
Who was it? Aiden was the dude that I used to talk to a lot.
They issued the HTS numbers for that set, Shay. And
what's that?
Alex, they Hybor issued Alex with, they have the HTS numbers.
That's awesome.
So I think you can just quote those. Alex, you can drop those in the chat, man, if you've got them handy. Those numbers.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. Those so they're up. Actually, I think they're like 5 hours from me. I've drove up there every time to pick up our transformer orders, but one time I drove up there and this they didn't have everything done. They're like, oh shit, we're so sorry. And then the secretary, Dawn, which is super nice lady, super sweet, she was like, hey, me and my husband come down to 30 minutes away from you every summer. My family lives down there. They have a winery. She's like, we'll bring your transformers down there. And I was like, hell yeah. So they actually brought my transformers down there, and they were partying. Just like met them at a hotel parking lot. It's like super down to earth, rad people, man. So those
That's super cool.
people to deal with,
Anyone tried the EdCore transformers? Or Hammonds?
I have not.
I haven't.
I've tried Hammonds a couple of times just as a replacement, like someone's blowing a choke or whatever, and I've used Hammond, and obviously for that's fine. But I don't think I've ever tried a Hammond OT.
I've used them a couple times. They're okay. I mean, yeah, it's a solid product.
What I've never understood is how Mercury get away with. They're substantially more expensive than everyone else. Yeah.
Oh, I have a fun Mercury story.
They're in California for one.
Hey now.
Well, things are more expensive over there. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea right now. I could probably buy a mansion in Indiana.
Oh boy, you wouldn't even want to know what I pay over here. I'm not going to tell you. Everybody will be pissed.
Really? Because we pay a lot. But yeah, no. So I just bought a choke from them, and I specified, Teflon coating, whatever. So whatever varnish they used to do that, it messed with the Teflon, and I couldn't strip the wire. There was no way possible I could strip the wire because it would just melt through, cut. So I had to use like a super sharp razor blade to strip the wire. Couldn't use wire strippers.
Weird.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, that's really odd.
And it was like a $40 choke, and I'm going, why the hell am I paying $40? And this was back in when did I build that amp? 2006-ish.
Yeah, okay. We got a comment here which will be in reference to our little Marshall scandal. No wonder Slash bailed.
Him and Jimmy Page both. They both bailed.
And Lou says all they need to do is include a hammer with every amp.
Oh God.
Well, if you're paying $4,000, you should get like some freebies.
You get a voucher. You get a voucher down at the local hardware store.
It's like an old Nintendo. You got to beat the shit out of it to make it work,
or blow it. Or what do you blow on the transformer?
It's like the old TV set. You got to hit the side of it.
Dude, I've done that and it works. But yeah.
Well, it does work,
Oh man, I couldn't believe it.
Obviously, you guys have empirical evidence.
When Alex said hit it with a hammer, and I was like, "What have I got to lose?" Yeah, it's not my amp. But it works. Question here from Ben at Murray Guitar Pickups. I heard somewhere that ghost notes are caused by the sheer volume rattling the coils in the PT. What do you guys think?
Nope.
Not sure.
It's the filtering, isn't it, Jed?
Yeah, that's not from the PT. No.
What else we got here, guys? So PF has gone ahead and already bought the LCR meter.
Caused from actually an under capacitance in your first capacitor after you get it rectified. That can happen.
Yeah, and if you back to the volume, I think where you're saying there, Ben, about volume, like if you've got that amp on 10, so you'll see this in some of the old Marshalls, you'll hear it, I should say, in some of the old Marshalls. If you turn that amp on 10, you're pulling so much load on that B plus line that the
and those transformers are underrated too.
And that whole B plus thing is just collapsing, right? And you get ghost notes coming through.
Yeah,
Alex says
that's a capacitor thing too.
Alex says, ghost notes are more layout than anything else, which could be true as well.
Debatable.
It could be true. I mean, there's a lot of extra noise, in the layout, so it just depends.
Yeah, too many variables, but not from the transformer itself, but undercapacitance on the first B plus is definitely one.
Yeah, I agree.
What else we got here, guys? Alex wants you to send him an OT and you'll tear it down. I don't think there's any secret there, man. The Haber OTs are probably based on the old Drakes or Dagnalls, right? So, which I know you've already ripped apart, Alex.
Yeah, the same OT that I use is, it's used in other amps as well. I won't say what they are, but there's
you guys should start winding your OTs. I have a spreadsheet for it.
That sounds awful. I don't want to do that. I have a whole. Well, it was Alex's fault, and I'm blaming Alex.
Man, I
went down the rabbit hole. So I have a bunch of laminations. I have an OT winder, and I designed a spreadsheet. And Alex was like, "Why would you do that?" And he was like, "Oh, wait." And then I gave it to him. He's like, "Oh, it's accurate. It's pretty accurate. Down to one wind."
That's for me.
I'm glad you guys are doing it. I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Man, that's right up there with the prospect of like cutting wood and making my own head shells or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, like I said, I wound my own transformers a few times, but
not gonna happen.
Well, I'm gonna wind them and then send them to someone else to make them. That's
I know my limitations. It's actually been interesting. So that was when we had Kyle on, right, Shea, and we chatted about kind of how he got started into it, and woodwork. It was like, so it's interesting, right? Not everyone starts with a soldering iron.
He wants to make transformers too, man. I mean, he wants to do that over there.
Well, I can help him, dude. I'll send him my spreadsheet.
The thing is, like, you think about, what's, what makes an amp, as far as like the production cost of making an amp, and
people have no idea.
Transformers are really, they're expensive. Like, as far as the head shell's probably the most expensive.
Well,
right, out of one single part, right? Depending, I mean, a head shell is damn near like $300 or so. But
if you know what you're doing, it shouldn't be $300. But.
Yeah. But I think that hopefully he does that. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if he did.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him up because like if he could do like face plates and chassis, like even a 5-minute run.
It's just a matter of time, Kyle. Yeah. I think like he'll get there, right? I mean, I think if Kyle says he's going to get into Transformers, I believe him. It'll happen. Just a question of when,
I have no doubts.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Zero doubts that he will get there.
Yeah, he's done everything else.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he made that factory I was looking at. I was like, dude.
Willy Wonka, man. He does everything. Mark says, Jason, thanks for generously sharing your time and knowledge. That's okay, man. No worries. And bringing in fascinating guests. That'd be you two guys. Feels like you're hanging with good friends. Yeah, well, they are my friends, man.
No, Jason and I have been talking for a while, right?
Long time, man.
Yeah. I shared my code with him, like my own Scratch Notepad MIDI code.
Yeah, and not always just amp stuff too. We talk about all kinds of stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we might get snow tonight too.
Yeah. Tom and Lisa, love the shows, Jason. Super nice guy. Thank you. Can you describe the differences in? I won't say it's my JEL. That's Dave's JEL and the Kelly 50. So the big difference there, they're both Marshall.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, derivatives. The Kelly is a pre-tone stack master diode clipping Jose. There you go. So if you, which makes pretty significant difference actually in the kind of the tone, right? So there's a really good. What's the best way I can describe it? Probably is to watch. It's on Pete Thorne's channel, and he's got Steve Vai's Jose Modded Marshall with Dave, and they go through the features on it. And one of the features on that amp is a push-pull master, and they talk about how that push-pull master changes the wiring of where the master volume is in the circuit to pre-tone stack and post-tone stack, and they demonstrate the tonal differences of it as well. You can hear it, like the Pete just plays back to back, and you can hear the difference. So the JEL is a more traditional Marshall-based, well, not Marshall-based, but a more traditional master volume. It's post-tone stack. And the Kelly is the pre-tone stack master.
If you're really good at guitar, get a JEL. If you're mediocre, get a Cali 50. The JEL won't hide as much, you know.
Yeah.
The pre-tone stack stuff is just smoother. It's got a more smoother, more forgiving feel on the guitar. Maybe
that's a really good way to describe it.
A little bit more sustain, maybe more harmonic depending on how you set it. But you know the JEL is just really the JEL is really similar to the old Marshall circuits, really. Just beefed up a little bit,
optimized, 800 kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
Optimized. Yeah, for
sure.
Yeah,
that the JCM 800. There's so many things that make that amp sound so better. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
I know. You only need to do two things to improve it dramatically, but change that first coupler to 2N2 and put a depth circuit in it, and then you're rocking straight away.
Those are good. Yeah. Not too much. You don't have to do too much.
No. Mark is suggesting the collaboration could be called Monohead. We've had a few suggestions.
That sounds like a porn movie,
dude. Well, the last time we talked about this, they said Head Myth, and
that sounds like a porn movie too.
Yeah, they're both terrible.
Well, depending on your flavor of porn.
Oh no.
Let's move along.
I'm glad we didn't go that route, Jason.
Yeah, man. I bet you. Well, that was See, I leave all the artistic side of things. I leave to you, Shea. It's
I appreciate that. Yeah,
not my strength, man. Eric's asking, can you guys share what you think of the Marshall, the JCM 900 SLX? Which look, I'm not familiar with that scheme straight off the top of my head, but I know it's very different than the original 900 dual reverb, which is mostly solid state preamp, right? This SLX is mostly
pull it up.
Yeah. All right, let's bring it up, man.
Dude. It's I think it's an 800 circuit.
Is that the one where they have the bridge?
I think they do, man.
Yeah,
I think they might.
Wait, the what?
The bridge.
I think they've got the diode. Yeah, they've got the bridge rectifier clipping.
The one. And then they have another. They have another clipper diode in there somewhere too.
Yeah, that little piece. I don't know why they did that.
Right. Do you want me to try and I found it. This is the SLX preamp.
Okay, he's asking what do the dual preamp gains do in the circuit? So
okay, so let's try and answer that.
If it's a
you guys see that?
Yep. Yeah, give us a zoom. Give us a zoomie on the front end there.
So you can see these connection points here where it comes off. I mean, those are just triodes, right? You can see them kind of down here. They've got them just showing down here.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of use your imagination here a little bit.
Like Kyle Rhodes, it's a factory.
Here's
Can you zoom in
the first game pot here?
Zoom in just another hair. Okay, perfect.
How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so can you see my cursor here, right? Yeah. This looks like first game pot here.
Yep.
Right. So that What do we got here?
Front end, we got a 2K7 with he's a 1 microfarad bypass.
That's typical Marshall.
Let's see.
No, all it's doing there is
it's just the 2 stages, right?
Yeah.
Here's the second gain pot here.
Yeah.
So this is a gain stage here into a gain pot setup. Out of the gain pot into the grid of the next stage. Yeah. Out of that stage, the coupling cap here, 22 nanofarad into a good old 470K with a 470 picofarad peaker.
Ice picky.
Yeah.
2K7 cathode with no bypass on this one, on this stage.
Yeah. What's this here? This is a 1 microfarad. 2K7 1 microfarad bypass on this stage. The stage here, 2K7 no bypass. Yep.
All it's doing is varying, like, how much distortion do you want on the second gain stage, it looks like to me.
Yeah, exactly. So those 2 gain pots, simply you're changing the amount of gain out of the first stage. And
how much do you want to throttle that other gain stage, and that's it.
What you tend to find in those architectures, Eric, is the second gain pot particularly is you'll get a lot of feel variation out of that. The more you wind that up, you get a kind of a thicker, heavier sound to it, as well as obviously more gain. And so if you're trying to trim the amp out a bit, you could crank the first gain pot and then bring the second gain pot back a bit.
Yeah, so you're throttling the first and then not throttling the second.
Yeah. But other than that, like, that's pretty. We've just got tube triode gain stages here until we get post-tone stack.
Plate snubber. Got plate snubber on the second plate.
Yeah.
And then
I thought this was based after a JCM 800, but it's not. There's no 10Ks cold clippers in here at all.
No. And I didn't spot a diode bridge in here, Jed.
That's different.
Maybe this one doesn't have it.
And then, you got the ICs. What are the ICs? Is that just going to?
Well,
I don't know. Did this amp have reverb or not?
I'm not sure what those ICs are doing.
No, there's LEDs.
But you're right, Shea. Normally, when you see this kind of stuff, it's either because they're trying to drive an effects loop or a reverb tank. It's hard to. It's not actually set out in here.
Circuit looks kind of meh. I'm sure it could be. I'm sure it could be modded pretty easily. The one thing about these old Marshalls, especially in the '90s, is the layout. The layout, because most of these have the pot mounted PCB boards, and if you ever
pain in the ass to mod.
Yeah, if you ever mess around with them, it's just they weren't meant for that. So
no, the traces lift and there's fun stuff.
Yeah, you can get all sorts of bleed issues and extra stuff like that, but it's why you don't see a lot of people doing them. There's reasons why, as far as mods go, at least.
What else we got here, guys? Scott's got a bunch of comments in here about ground planes. Back to what we're talking about. Yeah, not keen on Hammonds. Okay. Good to know.
Well, Hammonds they're a hi-fi company. I mean, that's what they do. And I haven't actually listened to their clone series yet. And I should buy one, see how it sounds.
These are the model codes for Alex's transformers.
Sick. There you go.
Be good to find. Have you got the specs for those in the DIY group, Alex? I'm guessing you probably do, but it'd be good to, if you haven't posted them there, it'd be good if you did.
He posted them, but he should probably repost just for fun.
Yeah, maybe put them in a files section or something. What itches were you scratching when choosing circuits for the club secret? I don't know, man. Just Marshall stuff.
Yeah.
Marshall, but better.
You guys and your
This one-
Marshalls.
Well, this one's more Mesa. Really, we got some Mesa shit going on here. There's
You guys doing a graphic EQ in it?
We could. We should. We
Well,
could. We
it's not
could.
that hard.
Oh God! If
Well,
we
I
do
have
that.
a gyrator spreadsheet too. If you guys want that.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of clones, man, if you guys just make a Mark II C+ clone and just
that amp is so bad though. It is so
but
bad.
So many people asked for one though, man.
oh God,
Gee.
why would you pay fucking $10,000 for that thing? Why?
No, because well, its design is horrible. The loop is horrible. Everything about it, except for if you do the V thing in the EQ and you crank it, that's the only sound you want. Otherwise, that amp is just terrible.
Hip Metal Works. Good to see you here, brother. The Myth Kid.
It's never gonna end.
Keep them coming, man.
That sounds like a porn too.
I know they're all gonna sound like that. Fuck.
John's here too. Good to see you, John. Good to see you in the stream. James, hey man. Jason, do you know what Vise Jose paralleled V1 plate and cathode values are? Look, I don't know definitively.
I think they were two.
Actually, I know definitely it was parallel stage. And I'm not sure Jose adjusted the plate and cathodes when he paralleled. I think he just wired them across. So it's probably 100K plate and 2K7, or don't actually know.
Yeah. It's not fair to say that Dave's not a fan of high gain circuits, because I think he is.
How the hell is the?
Oh, he is. He's just not. He's not a fan of.
How is the?
He likes a single triode in that gain stage out front rather than a parallel triode. That's all he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably. I mean, it's not. It's either going to be 2K7 with a 0.68 bypass. It's probably what it is. The cathode values are probably 2K7, 0.68. The plate's either 100 or 200, 220. Two choices. That's it. Nothing
this question was asked, if you want to kind of go back and listen to a bit of theory about it, this question was asked of Bruce Ignator when he was on 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because I had Santiago last week and Bruce and Dave the week before, I think. And Bruce goes into a very concise answer about why you should halve the values. So you go and find that in the stream. You have to listen to all 3 hours of it.
Well, no, you have to values because you're paralleling the plates.
Yeah.
The end.
That's right.
Everything gets doubled.
Yeah.
And so you have to
double the current. So you need to have the voltage. What else we got here, guys? I think people here are talking about the scheme that we shared, the SLX. Second pot adds shimmer, rest of the amp sucks.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that shit sucked too. It doesn't look too inspiring for sure.
It would be an amp that put it on the bucket list, Shay. I think one day would probably tackle it. Yeah, do something with it.
You can fix it with the boost, but you can fix anything with the boost.
Man, if you can mod a freaking Jubilee, you can mod one of those.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. It's all about the layout. If the layout was right.
Yeah, my guess is that that's constructed just like the 2205s. It's like and the later era 800s, right? With the, as you say, man, PCB mounted pots. It's a pain in the ass because you can change values, but you can't reroute anything very easily. So this is the SLX. There's no reverb on that circuit. It's a Jill channel with a boost. Okay. Maybe that's what that...
Those ICs were for a boost?
Maybe. Yeah. A lot of people asking for a 2C+.
Make it for him, guys. Guys, make it for him.
Man, it's not hard. The effects loop sucks.
Well, you can update.
You can optimize it, right? Like fix the.
Well, no, it's you can fix.
Just keep the good stuff.
Yeah.
But they might not like that. They might want.
Well, no, unless you have
original.
that EQ circuit in there, it's garbage.
Oh, absolutely. The EQ circuit is the whole fucking amp.
Oh man, if you listen
Like
to those,
I said,
amps
I have a
that you think about-
gyrator. I have a gyrator spreadsheet I made. If you guys want it, I'll gladly give it to you. Instead of using those hard to find inductors.
I don't know too much about the amp, honestly. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
It's laid out horribly. It's just not.
There's a guy here who's got one, and I've heard it, played through it, like up at volume, and man, it took a while. I mean, he kind of knows the settings, you know, but dialing it in is not easy.
No.
And once you get it, it's like, oh, that's that sound, you know, Black Album sound or whatever. Right? It's definitely there in that amp. But it's like that graphic, man. It's like that needs to be there to fix all the bad shit.
Well,
that
here's
comes
the deal
before it.
with that. The tone circuit is right off the plate of the first
Right off.
stage. Yeah.
Right at the beginning, right?
And then you have 4 other gain stages, and then you have the graphic EQ, which actually makes it sound good.
100%. If you switch that EQ off, I'm sure people have tried it. Man, does that sound terrible. That amp. It's awful. You know, I don't know, man. It is surprising that no one other. Well, are there any other knockoffs of a Mark Series amp? Is anyone
Even
doing it?
Bulgara didn't do it, and I finally had to say it.
Oh shit!
Man, I was waiting
We
for
got
that.
this far. Are you telling me we got this far and that hasn't been brought up yet? Damn it! Holy shit! Bam.
They'll be listening to this, man. Now they're gonna freaking do it.
That's why. See, that's why I'm still here. I was gonna be here for an hour, but now we're 2 hours in. But that was the part. We just want to start talking about Bulgaras now.
I think, man, you look on your bingo list, man. We've ticked every. We've
I-
finally got.
I waited this long. And we're over time. Like I waited.
That was a slam
Yeah.
dunk. Slam
Well,
dunk.
we're nearly there, guys. Let's
If
see.
anybody doesn't know, if anybody doesn't know, right?
Yeah, explain the background, man.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know about the Bulgara comment, you know, it's like, well, you know, we joke around. We'll post some shit on Facebook or whatever, and Jed will be like, gut shots or that's a Bulgara. Every time.
Yes.
Gut shots or that's a Bulgara.
Well, it's
Every
true.
time.
I don't
So-
know what's underneath.
Yeah. Gut
Like
shots
if you're gonna
Bulgara.
post your amp, show me the innards, man.
Or it's a Bulgara.
Yep.
Or it's a Bulgara, man. There's some surface mount shit going on in there.
Good one.
Yeah, man. So Peter's saying that Dave made him a duplicate of Vice Jose. Well, man, we'll fucking take a photo, man. Show us the innards, otherwise it's a Bulgara.
Precisely.
Nice that he did that.
I have no proof.
I have no proof otherwise. Yeah.
That's cool. He does shit like that. That's cool.
What's that, man?
That's cool that Dave does shit like that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's fucking awesome. 100%.
I'm sure that's worth a pretty penny.
There's actually, I was chatting to Dave a couple of days ago, and he told me about what he showed me. There's a Friedman modded 800 on Reverb, $2,200 US. It sounds like a bargain to me. It's the old kitchen sink mod.
Oh hell yeah!
So it would be, I don't know, man. Like, how old would that be? 15 plus years old, easy.
Depends.
It's all pre. This is all pre. You know, probably pre-Marsha and all that stuff. So that'd be a good amp to grab, man. Look it up, man. See if it's still there.
Yeah, $2,000. $2,000 is definitely not a far-fetched price for that.
It's $2,000 for a random JCN 800.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I was just talking to one of my friends, like yesterday. I was like, dude, I wish I would have started buying up all those Marshalls and high watts and stuff during 2005 when they were like $400 or $500 plus shipping.
Yeah.
I was going, why didn't I pull the trigger?
Well, yep.
Hindsight.
Lots of those questions, right? We all have those. We all have those moments, but we didn't know.
Like, why do I still run a forum? Why am I still here?
I'll tell you what, it'll be interesting to see the used prices. The Marshall, you know, the real true to spec Marshall guys, and especially, you know, since Jason has made a lot of Marshall style videos on his channel. Like a lot of guys pay attention to him. Those guys are going to be fucking pissed about the Vietnamese transformers. So
well, you should be.
Yeah,
you absolutely should be.
It'll be interesting to see, you know, if it catches on in the used market and people are like, okay, yeah, you actually can't buy this anymore.
They are the most important part of the amp. Let's face it.
Yeah,
right? And
sure.
I think something that's substantial, you would, I don't know, man.
Shouldn't you just transformer is the pickup. The output transformer of an amp is the pickup of your guitar. You know? Oh, we lost Jed.
Oh, yeah. Someone pulled the plug. He's must be on the same power supply as his Sloclone forum server.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I interrupted you, by the way. But yeah, I mean the output transformer of an amp is the same as a guitar pickup in a guitar. It is, you know, they're the same thing.
100%. 100%. I don't know where Jed's at. Like he's there, but not there. Well, man, what do we got left here? We've got
Dave's mod prices are incredibly fair. I don't know what his mod prices are, but that's awesome that you say that.
Where's cool. Oh, that's in there, yeah. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. Look, I think, oh man, from what I know, probably same ballpark as you.
I don't know. I mean, I think most people in our space they charge around $1,000. Like, you know, it's like it depends how much work needs done to a circuit, right? But if it's like kind of like a rebuild and there's a lot of work going on, usually like $1,000 is kind of like normal in our space. There could be, you know, shit. When I started, I think I was charging $350 an amp. You know?
Same.
Yeah. Same.
And that's where you do that, right, to get the work and to do the learning and cut your teeth and all the rest of it. And now I'm much more aware of the amount of time that gets put in, because any time, I mean, you know this, right? Any time you're working on a mod, you're not working on your own business. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good to still do them. I still like doing them because it's a learning bit of R&D, you know? You by doing these things and trying different things out, you happen upon.
There he is.
Hey, Jed, we're back.
Oh, awesome. I had a potty break.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Well, we wondered whether or not the Sloclone server had gone down. And
it's not in my house again.
You needed to reboot it quickly.
I actually had to pay money for it.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So like doing mods and stuff is like it's a cool learning ground for R&D, but you've got to be paid properly for it, because if you're not doing that, I mean, if you're doing mods, you're not building your own amps, you know. And
I think in the beginning, you know, doing the mods, you know, we're just talking about prices, about stuff, and when I was doing those mods in the beginning for cheap, I did a lot of work on Rig Talk. Man, I tell you, every fucking
Rig Talk is a weird. Yeah, I have stories about Rig Talk, Brad King, and all that shit that went down.
Oh, I'm sure. Everything that came to me though was broken. Like in the early days of my mod journey, not only was I modding amps, but I was repairing them as well. And so I learned a lot in the early days doing that stuff, which was actually, you know, it was good. It was good for me to have that experience, because I learned a whole lot, you know, but then what I started doing was I started buying broken amps, and then I'd fix them myself, and I'd mod them, and I'd sell them for, you know, in the early days, $2,000. And, you know, I'd make a lot more money that way. I did a lot of amps that way. And they're not hard to fix. They're really not. So
it's amazing when you get an amp like that, how often it's just the simplest thing.
Oh man.
And it's always, it's often sold as, the tech's diagnosed it with a blown transformer. Now that has happened to me once, actually, because when Jed, you mentioned before about Alex rewinding a output transformer, that was given to me with the diagnosis of it's got a blown output transformer, and I said no, it hasn't. It'll be something else. Of course,
and it was
the one time it was a friggin' blown output transformer.
This hold on, right here. This amp right here, 1972 Marshall Super Bass. I bought that on Reverb years ago for $1,200 broken. And the shop said, we can't fix it. Our techs can't fix it. He's tried everything. It's just got a weak output. And you already know what happened. I opened it up and I fixed it in fucking 15 minutes. the impedance selector was wired wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll still never understand those impedance selectors. The Marshall, and I don't know why people still want them in their, reproduction amps.
Yeah, I don't.
That's true.
I don't use them.
They're not good. They're dangerous. The amount of amps that have been, power tubes that have been sacrificed because they weren't set correctly, or the guy that bought in his 800-2205 for me to fix, Jed, who had, while the amp was on, reached over to change the impedance selector because he changed cabs and he accidentally moved the voltage selector to 120 with a 240 supply here, of course. Smoke came out.
He let the magic out. Sometimes it happens.
Smoke out, man. Peter's got a question here, and I think it goes back to what you said. You commented earlier, Jed, about the bleed and channel 1 being out of phase. So the question says, does that mean to get the most out of channel 2, you would turn down channel 1?
That's the part of the magic of the SLO, is it doesn't matter where you set it, really. I mean, it's a subtle bleed. It's not like, oh, it's bleeding all the way through, and you could crank channel 1 regardless of if it's in crunch or overdrive. It's still there, but that was part of the quote unquote magic of that amp, is you can subtly hear the out of phaseness of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Damn. Wild.
There's one. Peter, you can send any pictures of amplifiers to headfirst.amplification@gmail.com. I'm always keen to see pictures of amps.
I'll send you a picture of him in a Speedo.
Yeah, I said of amplifiers.
Is that a bet or there?
I was very careful with what I said there. What else I got here?
Peter, send him a picture of you in a Speedo. Oh, come on, that'd be funny.
Peter, I think I have the last CCV sold on Rig Talk. Oh, the old CCV. They don't come up very often, do they?
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? He's still making them. You just don't know about it.
Really?
Yeah.
He posted a video the other day, or yeah.
Oh man, you showed me that. Yeah, whose channel was that on? Was
it Sucker Free Gear?
Sucker Free Gear. That's right.
Yeah.
Is it like a blue Tolex or a purple Tolex?
That's a purple
CCV?
one. Yeah.
No, he's still making amps.
You just don't know about
when
it.
He chooses to, and whether or not I wouldn't send my amp to him, but
yeah,
if you know him, he'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, people send them to me and Jason now. Fucking that shit sucks. Just like they're like, do you want to take this in? Like, we know you could fix it, and we're just like, I guess.
Well, and the thing with the CCV isn't just like one mod, and they're ugly to look at. It's like there's just crazy crap going everywhere, and whatever.
This is the one where the board, I've never had one here. I've never seen one in real life, but the board is upside down. Is that right? The components are all.
Sometimes he did that. Yeah, it depends. Like, again, the dude's.
It's either that, or you're going to get goop all over it. So I guess you 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah,
I wonder about, because he, just like Dave. I mean, he back in the day, he
worked for Bogner.
He used to help people do like the Jose mods too. Like like the Jose mods that he was doing. He used to help people do those. And it's like, I don't know why, go to the extreme of hiding.
Well, he had
lying and doing all that crazy shit with the spray paint and all that,
Yeah. Well, he also had, I believe, chronic fatigue syndrome, and
had some health issues.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
But
never met the guy.
The whole Brad King, and I believe Friedman may have been involved with that whole Brad King CCV thing they were doing through Rig Talk. Yeah. And because I absolutely remember the videos that someone posted of them in a Lamborghini in the hotel rooms and stuff. And, whatever. Brad King went to jail for not beating up his girlfriend.
Yeah, there's all that Rig Talk drama. There's drama in all the forums,
Yeah, and I try to keep it to a minimum, and the only drama I ever had was Billy Blades, but whatever.
Yeah, those CCVs are coming back out, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that or not, but they are.
Who's doing it? Who has the design?
I don't want to say.
Is it Bad? Bad has the design.
Well, no. I just don't want to. I don't want to.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I know that they're coming back out. I don't think it's Mark. So anybody.
Well, it was his design, and he was still butthurt because he was like, well, and Brad King's thing was, well, if we'll give you money, partial money, if you pay all the people off that you had amps that you were supposed to, mod and all this crap, and it never happened. Yeah. I still have the picture of him, and I still have the picture of him during the when he was building them somewhere.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know people, man. That's the thing. It just sucks. I know people that have sent them amps that were like precious to them, and they never got them back. It's just
and that's where Billy Blades. Then that's how Billy Blades came into.
That's how he got started, right? Yeah.
Well, he came onto my forum. Well, he came onto the Sloclone forums, and we had all his stuff. It was no secret that the cat's out of the bag. The CCV was out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to build my own amp and all this stuff." And he kept asking questions, but he never did any digging on his own. He just wanted, paint by numbers. And then when he started his whole thing, it was like, I'm Billy Blades. Rocks, building
look what I invented.
Rock stars.
Look at the circuit I invented. Yeah. Wesley's asking, he's got a 75 JMP on the cheap. Pre 2020. Was that when you bought it? The original power transformers and choker missing. Okay, so that's probably why it was cheap. OT looks original. Where to find the best diagonal replacements in the UK?
I don't know.
Vietnam. Sorry.
You might want to have a look at. I don't know where he gets them from, but Michael at Modulus. He's in Scotland. And
he's sold out of a lot of stuff right now. I went on his website today.
Right. He's selling transformers now, right? And I don't know where he's getting them from, but you could ask him. Yeah. I have dealt with Michael before, and he's been awesome. Not for a few years now, but I was getting a bunch of things from him when I first started out. So you could try there, maybe. I think other people in the EU have gone to Tubetown. Is it Tubetown? Germany?
Tubetown. That's out of Germany, right?
Yeah. They've got...
they have reproductions.
Reproductions. I think they're okay, though. I mean...
I haven't used them. I can't.
I'm pretty sure Edgar Lenz uses their transformers and his stuff, the hot chili and so on. Because he was on the channel and talked about it. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. We'll have to go back and have a look at the stream to verify it. But yeah, I think they're okay. All right. And Scott, man, hit the like. Support this kick-ass channel. Thanks, Scott, man. Thanks for hanging out and been part of the chat. Well, man, we are at the 2.5 hour mark, and we've been through all the questions in the chat.
You son of a bitches! I stayed here the whole time.
I know. I knew you would.
Thanks. I didn't have to talk.
Damn it! I got a couple beers in me, and I was like,
"Thanks for hanging out, man. It's fucking awesome to have you here, brother. It always is awesome to have you on." Yeah, I knew you said.
Thanks for having me on, Jason.
This was cool. This was cool, man.
Yeah, man, Jed. No, it's cool. It's good. I'm glad we chatted about it and we managed to get a date because I think.
Oh yeah, he kept pushing me off for more popular people.
Maybe once.
Yeah, twice, 3, whatever. No one's counting.
What did she say to me? You said, if I had feelings, I would care.
It's just the truth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging in with me.
I feel like, just saying that, I feel like most of the people that are here probably know about Sloclone. I would think so, like a good amount. So, but if you're not, and you're into amp building and you're into learning stuff, you guys got to go there. I don't know if Joey's cat. What was the name of Joey's cat? Did we ever figure that out?
I still don't know.
Shit.
And and Jed, maybe you could, because there was a question earlier about what is the current challenge question or questions. Maybe you could.
You know what?
Go and have a look. Maybe you could post it in the DIY group on Facebook. It'd be good to see out of the back of this.
No, I don't want other people there. That's the thing. I never wanted it to get this big. No, I never. That's the thing. It was like it started off with like 5 people.
Come on, let's create some monsters.
We want a bit of a resurgence in activity on Sloclone. We're gonna resurrect it.
You know what? I'll give you all the admin rights and you can take it over. How's that sound?
Okay. We'll get Alex in as server admin. He'll help out.
I think with where we're at in 2023, man, more people interested in the space and doing what we're doing should be, it's like, that's good. More people. Like, we need more people. We need more people.
Yeah, man. Freaking gonna keep these modelers at bay, man. We're gonna keep the tube amps alive.
A lot of the guys that do this stuff are old. A lot of these guys will.
Well, they're not as old as Jason, but yeah.
But yeah,
that's true, man. We got to capture them.
As young as Shea. I mean, Shea's a little pup. Like,
I'm 40.
That was a nice age.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, I just had my midlife crisis this year, so there's that.
There's going to be just so you know, there's going to be a few more.
Oh fuck! I believe you.
True.
Well, no, you're going to be, a New Zealand transplant to Australia and quit your day job and start building amps for no reason.
Yeah, I do have a 8-year-old daughter, so she's keeping me alive.
Age.
I know.
My youngest kid is going to be 19, and my oldest is going to be 21.
I know. I see him on Facebook. That's crazy, man. You got some grown kids. Both of you guys.
Oh no, they're monsters.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do that.
Yeah. I got a whole other set of problems on my hands. I got a beautiful daughter, so
shotguns and fun things.
Yeah,
that happens quick, man. All of a sudden,
it does.
Growing up. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jed. Hey, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thank you for having me. You too, Shea, man. Yeah. Good talking to you.
Yeah,
guys.
Man. Great chat, man. Really fun to hang out.
We'll do it again, man, in 2024, and we'll see whether we've managed to create a bit of a resurgence in Sloclone activity.
Please don't.
He secretly does want it, guys. Come on, get him.
Oh, do not
join up.
Throw that in the universe. All right. Peace out, guys.
Peace, guys.
Hang on the line, Jed.
Thanks to everybody in the chat.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. I'll see you next week.